My name is Heidi. I am the owner of Co-Creating Healing. I work out of the Inlet and then a couple of local places around here. Um, so I offer Reiki, sound medicine, and I also offer retreats and little workshops here at the Inlet and host David. So we welcome everyone tonight. Let's see. I think we'll just get started. All right. So welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us. Got one more coming in. Hello and welcome. I'm truly excited to introduce David Harris and his team of guides. David is a channeler, spiritual guide, a teacher who brings through channeled messages, energetic insight, healing light language, Akashic records, wisdom, and higher perspective guidance. His work is centered around helping people align more fully with their true nature as spiritual beings, heal at the root level, embody the infinite creative power already within them, and experience the abundant life they are meant to live. Through his sessions and teaching, David helps individuals embody their infinite nature and align with their highest self. This releases emotional trauma held within the body, mind, and nervous system, clear ancestral energies, and personal patterns that may be limiting growth. Find their true voice, trust their inner knowing, and reclaim a deeper sense of peace. And at the heart of David's work is the understanding that each person already carries an innate higher spiritual intelligence within them. His mission is to help others reconnect that wisdom and live through the heart center, the bridge between the spiritual and physical worlds. David teaches that we are far more than we often believe ourselves to be. We are courageous creatures with the ability to align with our highest truths and live from a greater freedom, purpose, and abundance. And that is a wonderful introduction to David and his work. And tonight, David is going to be channeling for us and also answering some questions. So right now is a great opportunity for everybody, if they want to put in the chat a question for David and his guides for tonight. And we will try to get to as many as we can. And I do ask that maybe we limit it to one question per person. David has when David starts channeling the questions, it does come with an abundance of information. So I'm sure that it'll be taken into a deeper dive than just the surface level question. David, do you want to insert anything in here?
I think you've covered it. Thanks everybody for joining us.
Okay.
Really appreciate you taking time on a Wednesday evening.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to just start us out, kind of getting us into the space and just a gentle little meditation, getting us all nice and grounded. I invite everybody to close their eyes if they wish, and this would be a great place to go to a quiet spot, your own little sanctuary, close the door, take this time for yourself. So I invite everybody to take a nice, gentle, slow breath in. And a long, easy breath out. And allow your body to settle, allowing your shoulders to soften, allowing yourself to arrive fully into this moment. Let's take another nice deep breath in and a nice slow exhale out. Now bring your awareness to the space above your head. You can imagine a brilliant, transparent light descending from the highest source of creation, pure consciousness, pure potential, pure light. This light gently flows through the crown of your head and into your body. As it enters, it begins to separate into beautiful rays of light. First is the violet ray moves through you, helping to release what is already completed. Now the white light ray flows through you, bringing purification and clarity. The blue ray fills your throat, heart, and cells with healing and truth. The pink silver ray opens the heart with compassion, gentleness, and love. And a golden ray illuminates your entire being with wisdom, healing, and divine remembrance. The silver golden ray weaves through every part of you, awakening empathy, unity, and connection. Now allow all these rays to blend together into a radiant field of light, surrounding and filling your body. Now imagine these rays flowing downward through your feet, deep into the earth, connecting with the crystalline heart of the planet. See these frequencies anchoring into the Earth's sacred geometric grid, the ancient ley lines, the energetic pathways that connect the mountains, oceans, forest, desert, and all living beings. Allow these rays to travel through this planetary network, carrying harmony, balance, healing, and unity wherever they are needed. Now see this light rise once again from the earth, through your body, up through your crown, and back into the cosmos. A conscious flow, source to earth, earth to source, and you are the bridge. Take one final deep breath in and exhale slowly. And together, may whatever unfolds today serve the highest good of all beings in perfect alignment with wisdom, compassion, and love. And so it is. When you're ready, you can gently open your eyes and come back to the space. And we'll leave it up to David now to take over.
Okay. Oya kakashia 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 yabakaka kakashia bakataka papashia bakataka papashia bakataka yabakaka kakakash bakataka aya kataka yeah katakaka yashia bakataka kakash bakataka 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 yabakaka. Good evening. Thank you for joining us here today. We have a lot to communicate with you. The light language we're starting out with is doing a couple of things. We'll address some of what's going on in the light language. First, we're doing a balancing of the throat and heart chakras. All of you here have expanded in your heart chakra significantly over the last month. And this is creating a need for a balancing between your throat and your heart. You, meaning you and your body, are a delicate, finely tuned instrument. And this instrument is able to carry a bigger tune right now than it has been until recently. And this goes for everyone here across the board. You may notice that you've been having some very vivid dreams lately. And for some of you, recurring dreams or dreams that center around the same theme, the same thematic material night after night. Not all dreams are messages, but they are clues. Your guides have been working with you and working with your subconscious during your sleep time to help you interpret and ground a large set of downloads, of psychic downloads that you've all been receiving, particularly with the set of alignments that's happening between the planets and the stars, along with your sun right now. It is opening up kind of an information superhighway coming from the galactic core to you. And it's allowing many of your friends and neighbors and even galactic family members from various different parts of the cosmos to send you a lot of direct messages. Those messages contain healing energy and specific pieces of information, facts that are pertinent to you specifically on a personal level. And it works like layers of the onion. And right now you've received all this, you're starting to integrate it, but it's like a big juicy piece of fruit that needs to be peeled so you can really get to the juicy part inside and start digesting it. And that's what we're helping you do through this light language. We'd like to ask you and encourage you that for this session to set some kind of intention for yourself. Is there something that you would like to heal, that you have been working to heal? Something physical, something emotional in your life, a situation in your life, someplace where you feel stuck. Let's untangle that ball of yarn together and see that while the knot appears to be big and really complicated on the surface, it's actually not going to take a whole lot to unwind it into just a smooth string that then you can use to weave with, to knit with, to crochet with, and create something new. Create something new and detailed and beautiful. Hi, we've been opening up your third eye with this light language and some other things. But opening up your third eye is going to allow you to perceive this information, which is being delivered to you in a multi-dimensional way. There's a lot going on behind the words or any of the sounds coming through in this whole transmission. This is a vibrational exchange, and so much of what's being communicated to you, that's being broadcast to you, is completely nonverbal. So just allow yourself to fully take that in, to drink it up, to really absorb it, like a plant really absorbs water if that plant's dry. If it's been a little bit of a dry spell and suddenly there's a good rain and that soil gets moist, that plant really opens up its pores and drinks it all up. And that's what we would like for you to do, to let yourself really receive this on all levels, to fully receive it. We also want to talk a little bit about the subject of fear and how fear might be coming up for you in your life right now, and some of the broader themes of why that fear is coming up, where it's coming up, what's causing it to rise up to the surface collectively throughout the planet. Some things that have happened with alignments that have triggered a release of some stuck energy that's been leaving in waves. And this can manifest as fear disguised as anger, angst, or irritation. So examine where you felt really triggered in your life in the very recent past. We're talking about in the last 2 weeks. Where have you felt really triggered in your life? What is really just, what's grinding your gears? What little things or maybe big things can completely set you off? Even if it doesn't appear that way externally to others, if you put on a happy face, or you kind of keep it together to keep things organized, but behind the scenes, you're in some cases raging, and you're going through a roller coaster of multiple emotions around this that will come up in your private time when you're not around those folks. And yes, there are specific reasons on an individual level why that's happening for you that have nothing to do with anyone else. But there's some broader reasons that are triggering a collective release. One of those reasons, it's what's been happening on your planet. Your planet's core has been opening up its energy to reunite with the energy on the surface level of the planet, because there really is a whole universe inside the earth of many non-physical beings, some physical beings, but it's a very balanced environment. It's an environment, a whole world that's really been protected um, to preserve its frequency since the end of Atlantis, and it's kind of been cordoned off, like firewalled off from the rest of the planet. It doesn't mean there hasn't been any interaction between what's going on in the core and on the surface, but those two kind of operate in a very, or have been operating in a very segmented way, like a series of doors that are closed. And now those doors between those two layers of the inner earth and the surface earth have opened. And these two things are integrating together. It's now the earth has reached a point in your evolution, reached a point that the vibration of the earth has risen where it's now safe to do so. And it's actually needed. It's needed for the health of the earth. It's needed for the healing of the earth on the spirit level. And it's also helpful for your own healing. And as these doors have been opened recently to allow these two things to reintegrate with each other, it's triggered the release of some old stagnant energy that goes back to the end of Atlantis. There was understandably quite a lot of fear on the planet at that time. Collectively, not just fear from humans on the planet, but from all kinds of beings that were alive on Earth at that time, for understandable reasons, because there were cataclysms happening. There was mass destruction, big floods, a lot of people and other animals and beings died at the time. And so many of you are back now. You've reincarnated here at this time to help heal that energy, to help rectify an experience that you had that felt unresolved. And the joining of the inner and the outer again has triggered a lot of stuff that was sealed up. You can think of it as energy that was kind of sealed up and stuck, like it was in a Ziploc bag, and that bag had been closed. And it's opened it up and it's releasing it. And this has triggered a release in you. So back to what we were talking about with the emotional themes behind this being fear, angst, anxiety, disguised as another emotion, disguised as irritation or anger, some form of anger, disguised as that. This is a very healthy release, and it's not going to last very long, especially if you don't resist it. So while we could keep talking about history, about things that have happened on this planet before, and experiences that are, in a sense, done, We'd rather focus on what's going to help you in the here and now. So what are some of the themes? What's really behind this fear that can emerge being disguised as anger or irritation? What's actually behind that fear? And we're talking about this kind of in a generalized way, but one of the main themes behind that fear is a fear of fully emerging as your true self, of fully emerging in a bigger way, in a more empowered way. All of you here have been going through shifts, internal shifts within yourself, shifts of your perception of how you see your reality, um, emotional purges, in so many cases here, an expansion of what we'll call your multidimensional abilities. Your psychic gifts have been coming online and amplifying further. So your perception of the experience you're having in your human body is greatly amplified. You're picking up on so many signals you haven't before, and picking up on things in an ever increasing way. You're getting a big increase in psychic downloads. Your extrasensory perceptions have been really turned up and will continue to be. They'll continue to expand. And as this happens, one thing that you start to realize, maybe not consciously, is that, oh, it turns out I'm a lot more powerful than I thought. And if I actually start to show this more externally, what will happen? Will people be shocked? Will they be a little bit afraid of it? Will they respond to me differently? Will it cause some issues? Will it serve me? Will it serve me, or will it harm me for me to, in a sense, pull the curtain back and reveal how powerful I am in some way by just stepping forward and being yourself, or maybe not holding back, saying things you think and perceive, things you see in a situation, things you see about something, things that you think will be helpful. So do I show that to the world? Do I stop holding back? Do I stop holding myself back to cater to others? Or do I show some of that one little slice at a time, like a slice of pizza at a time? I'll show a part of myself, a slice of pizza at a time. And when we say show a part of myself, what we mean by that is just simply use your gifts fully. Use your gifts fully without holding them back, and just to do what you can naturally do without having to try extra hard. Just do what you can naturally do, because you are quite powerful. In many ways, you're quite skilled. You're quite intuitive. You're very sensitive. Most people on this call are very sensitive, very empathic. You're perceiving a lot. You're getting all these downloads. You're integrating so much more than you realize on a conscious level. And it's coming out in your day to day actions. It's coming out in the things that you see. It's coming out in things that you do. And we mean that in a very positive way. But is there some part of you that's holding back a little bit? Like, well, if I really show myself, maybe I won't fit in. Maybe it'll make somebody else uncomfortable who's not doing their own inner work, who's not doing the healing, who maybe is just not in the same place where I am. And that's the main theme behind this fear. Why does this fear get expressed as anger and irritation. Well, that in itself is actually a really good sign. It means that you're about done with that fear. It means that you're about done dealing with that fear and you're ready to move on. But it's like you're looking for permission. And not all that irritation and anger is based on fear. You might have some very legitimate reasons to be mad in your life. But the number one reason why that fear gets expressed as some form of anger, irritation, is judgment, primarily self-judgment, of judging yourself for having that fear or hesitation. And also judgment of others who may be a little bit slow to perceive what you're perceiving, who just aren't in the place where you are. They may be a little slow to work through their own stuff, their own issues. So, how can you release some of this judgment of yourself at this point? From our perspective, we feel like you're doing great. And we say that because many of us in this collective have been human and we have come to appreciate just how much you're actually navigating being a human on this planet at this time. It's been kind of rough. It's been rocky from an energetic standpoint. You've been dealing with a lot of competing frequencies as you ascend, as you activate, as your body goes through physical changes, as parts of your DNA come online, which bring with it expanded psychic gifts and information encoded in your biology, in your DNA of other lifetimes, of things you've learned in other lives, of information that you brought in with you. And to do that in the face of an environment that has so many competing frequencies is extremely difficult. And the number of competing frequencies that you deal with has been really turned up in recent weeks and months. And you're about to get a little bit of relief from that, which will lead to another big acceleration. And we can tell you all these things about how you're doing great and how fast you're evolving, how much you're growing, and how much you're actually dealing with in a moment to moment basis in terms of the frequencies that you're navigating. We can say all that, and you can say that's great, but how does that make me feel better? How does that make me feel better right now? How does it balance some things for me? How does that create a sense of relief? Just for a moment, if you could indulge us in a little exercise, just think about where you were 6 months ago in your life. Think about how your life circumstances may have changed. And also think about how you perceived your own experience 6 months ago versus how you perceive it right now. Because you've all had a really big amplification of all your psychic gifts happening in rapid sequence over the last 6 months, so fast that you may not even fully be aware of it. Think about what your main goal in life was 6 months ago and what your main goal in life is today. Maybe it's the same goal. Maybe it's changed. If it's the same goal, think about just how you've shifted with that, what how far you've come with it, and also how your own thinking has shifted around what that goal means for you and what accomplishing that goal will look like. How do you envision that looking like in your life? And all the while, over this whole period of time, you have been watering and nurturing this big tree. And this tree is now starting to sprout fruit. And very, very soon, this fruit's going to grow big and get really juicy. And this tree will be filled with fruit. And that fruit will be ready to be harvested. In the near future, things are going to shift for many of you over the course of the months of July and August. You've been preparing for something all this time. You have been working through something. Your higher self and your guides have been helping you to work towards something. And the energies that are shifting in the planet are going to create a slingshot effect to help you move through something significant in your life. It will be different for each one of you. That has been a major burden for you, or a major hurdle to cross, or perhaps both at the same time. We're going to do a little bit of a reset for you with your energy field in a moment. But before we get to that, we want to keep talking more about releasing self-judgment. When you release self-judgment, you naturally release judgment of other people, because all judgment is some form of self-judgment. We could say a lot of things about how to release self judgment, and all those things would make sense. And they'd probably be a lot of things that you've heard before in some version or some variation. What we'd like to do instead is work with a bit of a visual. Think of one thing that's happened recently. It might be today, it might be yesterday, it might be in the last few days. Some situation or something that came up, some thought or feeling that you had, or maybe something you did that you are judging yourself for, that you're beating yourself up about. Just imagine putting that on a plate in front of you. Yes, yeah. In a sense, detach it from you and just look at it on a plate. Like it's a specimen in a petri dish in a lab, like a high school class where you're doing some kind of experiment and you're looking at something, a specimen on a table, whatever visual works for you to kind of get that thing out of your body in a sense and look at it as if it's a separate thing. Is this thing, whatever it is, really a failure? Or is it just you releasing a burden? In other words, whenever you did, felt, or thought whatever this thing is that you've been judging yourself harshly for, was it really that bad? Or were you just doing it because you were trying to get something out of you? One of the fastest ways to ascend to a higher frequency, to move to the next phase, fully move into what you think of as the fifth dimension, is to release self judgment. And visualize this plate again, whatever you put on it, and think about where you feel that in your body right now. And in all cases across the board, for everyone on this call, whatever it was that you did, thought, or said, whatever it is you're judging yourself for, was you responding to a past life trigger. We had mentioned that there's a collective energy that's been kind of being released so it can be dissolved of long held fear that came about at the end of Atlantis. That's actually the trigger that's behind this for all of you here. And while those feelings you're having may be truly related to an experience in the now, in your life now, the reason why it packs such a punch is that past life issue. So take that plate with whatever you put on it and give it to your angels and let them transmute it. Let them turn that into something else, a nicer meal. So right now we're going to go into a bit of light language and toning for a moment. And this is going to be to help clear that out of you, to help your system do a little bit of a reset, to help you finish releasing a lot of stuff that you've been getting out of your energy field, old stuff that you've processed and dealt with that's just still releasing from your system. We're going to help you with that. And we're going to do a reset of the nervous system. And involved in this is going to be a bit of a timeline shift that'll put you on a higher timeline. A timeline in which you experience things getting resolved in your life, breakthroughs happening more quickly. Oya, yibakashia, 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 kachia, bachukachia, bakachia, yakataka kashia, 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 Oya kashia kashia oya kashia yekadaka maga shiba kadaka aya katiya kadaka oya kaka iya kashika shiba kadaka ya kadaka oya yiba kadaka oya kiba kadaka kashiba kadaka kaya ay 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 ai 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 Yeah, kachibakakakaya, kachibakakaboya, kachibakakatapakachipatakayamakakakaya. Yakatakashia, shibakatakapushia, shibakatakakakashia, yakatakakakashia, yabakatapoya, kachibakatakakapushibakatakakashia, bakatakakakaya, kachibakatakashibakatakakakaya. Oh yeah, and take a moment and just take a deep breath and let that settle. Let yourself really relax into your chair and fully receive this. Feel that reset happening. This is kind of like rebooting a computer to stop programs that are looping in the background so things can start back up clean. You've all been going through a third eye upgrade. What that's going to mean for each of you is quite different. But one common denominator for all is that going through this third eye upgrade, it it amplifies your pineal gland, it expands your pituitary gland in a very healthy way, and you are now picking up on more electromagnetic frequencies than you did before. You may find that you're a little bit more sensitive to light. Sensitivity to light could play out in a few ways. In some cases, things might literally feel brighter to you. In other cases, you can have light sensitivity symptoms, for example, sneezing when you look at the sun. There's nothing wrong with you when that happens. It means that your pineal gland and your third eye are highly activated. But we encourage you to think of your third eye as a brain unto itself with its own internal intelligence. It's an energy center, yes, that connects into your biology. But whenever you go through a third eye upgrade, it's always a precursor to another set of upgrades that are coming online either right behind it in succession or at the same time, depending on you individually. But we suggest going into your third eye more throughout your daily life when you're doing everyday things. When we say go into your third eye, really it's as simple as placing your awareness in the center of your head. It doesn't have to be the perfect right spot, just somewhere in the center of your head. And you'll notice as you go into your third eye more and focus in the center of your head that your thoughts calm. Anxiety will instantly decrease. And your range of perception, your conscious awareness will expand in some way. In some cases, you'll see auras, visibly see auras. In other cases, what you see visually may not change, but your perception of what you're seeing will expand and you'll know or understand things. From our perspective, it's really important to think of your third eye as another regular sense that you have. You're perceiving a lot through touch that you are so used to that you don't think much of it. That sense of touch is not something that you think of as necessarily like a special gift or ability. but you use it all the time. We'd like to encourage you to think of your third eye as another normal ability that you have, a normal ability that is changing and shifting and will expand. And isn't it cool to have a sense that's constantly improving? When you go into your third eye, it allows your nervous system to calm down. It has a whole trickle down effect. This has been actually researched scientifically by humans, but it can really help regulate your nervous system. And that's the number one reason we encourage you to just go into that space. Simply put your awareness on a spot somewhere in the center of your head anytime you want when you're doing whatever it is that you may be doing, and you will feel yourself get calmer. And in some way, your perception of the experience you're having and whatever it is you're doing, whatever interaction you may be having, will become more multidimensional. And this could be a lot of fun, but the number one reason we bring this up is because it could just relieve some pressure. So we encourage you to do that for the rest of this call, just to put your awareness in the center of your head. And there's nothing more that you need to do. We're going to move to questions in just a moment, but we're going to say one more thing. We've been mentioning that you've been through a very, very intense phase. A major energetic shift happening in the Earth grid. With the Earth's core and the surface reintegrating. And also a whole series of alignments. A lot of them are kind of documented in astrology, but there are other things going on energetically that humans don't have the language for, that are really affecting you. Ultimately, all very helpful to you, but look for things to smooth out soon, very soon, like within the next couple of weeks, for things to smooth out. That doesn't mean your life will necessarily get less hectic, but you'll feel more balanced. You'll feel a bit more emotionally balanced within yourself. In some cases here, you'll start sleeping better. And right now, all of you have been going through the final purge of a lot of dense stuff before you get a breather. If you're in a position to get near water in the next several weeks, even if it's just a swimming pool, it would really benefit your nervous system to get in water. Even just to be really near water. You are a gift, and your presence here on earth at this time is a gift. You're helping to heal the collective of humanity and helping to heal the planet just by your presence alone. So allow yourself to really receive more. There's so many of you out here that are carriers of light that are bringing a lot of healing in because you have the capacity to receive it and to transmit it through your vessel, that are unsung heroes here. So allow yourself to really receive all the help that's being offered to you, in whatever form it may show up, whether it's tangible and physical coming from another person, or whether it's something you just perceive that's non-physical. The plants, the trees are very connected to you. They're connected through your heart chakra, and they really do offer assistance to you energetically. They offer to transmute things that you're carrying and help ground them into the earth so that that burden can be taken away from you. Allow your environment to assist you more and more and more. Let that fear go. You don't need to carry it anymore. Yeah, ha kasha 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 we thank you for indulging us through that long message. And now we are ready to move into questions.
Thank you. Really quick, before we do move into questions, I just have a couple of quick announcements. So David has recently released a new online offering called Embody Your Soul Purpose. And it's a 21-day channeling experience designed to help participants reconnect with the divine blueprint and remember their wholeness on a cellular level. Through 5 channeled activation experiences over 21 days, the program supports awakening inner power, creating a nervous system less governed by fear, accessing dormant gifts and higher dimensional information, and a deepening the integration between soul and body. In addition, David also is the host of the Eternal You podcast, where he explores spirituality, consciousness, healing, and the journey of awakening. I believe this Zoom live channeling will be posted on his YouTube channel as well. But you can contact him. I have pinned his website link to the top of the chat. So you can contact him through there for any one-on-one channelings or more information about David. And let's get into some questions. So the first question is, what is my biggest energetic block that is affecting my progression with opening my third eye? What a great question for just what was channeled earlier.
Well, it may surprise you to learn that your third eye is opening rapidly and opening very, very nicely. The reason why it may not feel that way right now is something else. The core thing for you right now is to work on opening your heart to yourself. Your heart's very open when it comes to others, and to animals, even to people that others may judge. You can be very open hearted. This is about opening your heart more to yourself. We see it like an ice cube inside that's, you know, water, of course, is very malleable. Um, Water in a glass feels very, has a gentle feeling when you're just laying like in a pool, water that's just calm in a glass, lying in a warm bathtub. That water can be very gentle, but an ice block can break glass, right? You don't want to fall down hard on an ice block. But we don't see this as a big cube of ice. It's not going to take a whole lot to melt it and to turn it into a nice, smooth pond. Would you congratulate yourself about what you've accomplished over the last 2 years? The major inner work that you've done, all the progress that you've made, all the positive changes that you've made. Two years ago, would you have been asking a question like, what blocks will help me, what blocks can I release that will help me open up my third eye? Would you even thought to ask a question like that? But in a sense, you did ask the right question. Because one of your primary guides was putting a lot of information into your third eye to help you see something, and you picked up on the message. What is it that you're afraid to release that makes it more difficult for you to fully open your heart to yourself? Only you can truly answer that question, but it's a specific experience. It's a wound you've experienced within the last 6 months. An experience that struck a nerve because it tied into some hurts you experienced earlier in life. It triggered those same feelings. It basically struck on the same pain centers. Is there some part of you that secretly blames you for something that's not your fault, for something that happened that's not your fault? Are you secretly blaming yourself in some way? One of your superpowers is your empathy, how open hearted you are towards others, and your ability to put yourself in others' shoes Well, extend that same empathy to yourself. The Archangel Michael is here to work with you, to stay with you, to help you with this. There's no danger in opening your heart fully to yourself. You're not going to get bitten. What you'll find when you fully open your heart to yourself is a soft, cuddly, highly intelligent animal in there. Give yourself a pat on the back and give yourself a reward. Offer yourself a gift. That gift may be an experience. Whatever it is, it's just for your enjoyment. It's a brave thing to open your heart to yourself. It's one of the hardest things to do as a human. And for whatever it's worth, it's an experience you can only get here. We've just put a lot in the light language to help you with this, to help open this up, and also a lot of information that's going to come through for you in stages. Later on, like reading a book. You don't read a book all at once, you read it a page at a time. This will be a quick read though. Thank you for the question. What's our next question?
I am currently struggling with my healing and emotional stability. I feel like part of me is self-sabotaging my journey right now. Do you have any insight and or advice to help me at this time?
You're very perceptive. There is some self-sabotage going on. The good news is it's pretty easy to fix. The biggest reason why this self-sabotage is happening is a past life issue. It came from another lifetime for you in the 1820s. When you died prematurely due to an accident, that accident involved a horse. You were in an impromptu race across a pasture with someone else, a horse race between the two of you. And at the time, you were not a highly skilled rider. You didn't listen to some advice telling you not to do it. You did it anyway. You ended up falling off when the horse was going really fast and falling into a spot that was pretty dangerous, and you were killed instantly. And what does this have to do with this experience now? Ever since then, which is several lifetimes ago for you, there's always a point where you become overly cautious. Subconsciously, you become overly cautious, especially when you're going through something in life in which you're moving pretty fast. Maybe you're making fast progress through a pursuit that you're evolving into. Maybe you've had situations in your life where you were in a relationship that was going well, but things were moving fast, and there reached a point where for some reason you had this hesitation you didn't understand. This is the reason why. With what you have going in your life right now, it's completely safe for you to move fast because this is what you're built for. And you have a lot of help. You have a lot of assistance energetically, and you have a lot of assistance in your life to help you move quickly in a way that's smart and safe and healing. The self-sabotage has to do with holding back. There's a point where you move really, really fast and then you pull back, you hold back and don't know why. That's the reason why. This isn't all or nothing, and it's not a race either. But you're in a place now with a particular pursuit in your life where the faster you go, the easier it will get. The grapes have ripened on the vine, and when the grapes are ripe on the vine, you want to pick those grapes quickly, because if you leave them on the vine too long, those grapes start to spoil on the vine a little bit. So there's a point when things have been moving where there's a stage where moving fast is the smartest thing you can do. And if you are running a vineyard with a bunch of grapes that are ripe and the sun's hot and it's June or July, you want to get those grapes off as fast as you can because you want to get them while they're fresh and while they're perfectly ripe. And if you're running a vineyard, you have a plan for that. You have a plan for how to handle that. And you have a plan too. You've just been keeping it a little bit of a secret from yourself. And you know the crazy thing about that lifetime where you were racing on a horse and things kind of went wrong? Before that happened, you were having a hell of a lot of fun. There's a bit more to unpack with this than what we've said in words that's very personal to you. We've put it in the light language for you. But this is an avenue of exploration for you to kind of feel into and to work with for a while. And it's kind of all encompassing in that this theme of pulling back whenever something's moving fast, especially if it's moving fast and going well, happens again and again. But we've been working with your higher self to do a clearing and a release of the energy from this past lifetime, so you won't have to deal with that anymore. That's gone. Sometimes when you're in what feels like a lull, it's right before something exciting happens. If you're standing on the edge of a lake and you're fishing and you've got that fishing line way out in the lake, you're just sitting there peacefully because nothing's biting, all of a sudden, if you get a big trout on that line, you're going to know it. And things are going to get real exciting real fast. And then there's going to be a lot of action as you haul in the catch, as you bring in the big fish. And right now, you have a fish on the line. And when you have a fish on the line, you want to move quickly and operate in a smart way to haul that catch in. We think you know what we mean here. Thank you for the question.
Okay, next question. I'm struggling in the area of creative fulfillment. Feel torn between wanting to make more impact, yet knowing there is nothing I need to do.
There's nothing you need to do, but what do you want to do? Because behind all this is a theme, and that theme is turn your light all the way up. It doesn't really matter what you do as long as you turn your light all the way up. And right now, you've got your light turned on about 80% most of the time, a lot brighter than it used to be. You're letting a lot more of that light shine than it used to be. What happens when you turn it all the way up? Turn it all the way up and see what happens. And we know just saying this has triggered a response in your body, a pulling back, It's triggered a subconscious fear. Because you've had some experiences where having the light turned up, turning your light up has been a lonely experience. If you are running a lighthouse on some remote, distant shore, far from civilization, while that is a life saving thing to operate that lighthouse so the ships can avoid crashing into the rocks, if you're out there living in a lighthouse by yourself or with just one other person and there's not much around you, that can get kind of lonely after a while. And that's been your biggest hesitation of turning your light all the way up. But the tide has turned in your life. Turning your light all the way up will attract just the right people into your field. It will bring just the right healing situation into your life. It can help to heal you first and foremost. And it's also an act of service, a tremendous act of service, to simply turn your light all the way up, even if you just sit at home and watch things out the window. But when you turn your light all the way up, you're not going to want to sit still for long because you won't be able to. You're going to want to get out there. It'll be instinctive. But for you, there's a fear behind that turning your light up might come at a cost, because it has come at a cost before for you in this life and many others. Particularly at the end of Atlantis. You were attacked and very misunderstood right before things really fell apart, because you emitted a pure frequency. You were a pure light in an environment, in a society that had become quite distorted. And this is a little bit of a double whammy for you because there's also an ancestral element that goes back a long, long way on your dad's side. And it originally started an experience where a male going way back was cast out of a tribal community for being different, for turning his light all the way on and bringing in a lot of psychic gifts that others were enamored with, but a little afraid of because they couldn't control it. We can do a clearing of this ancestral element and of this past life element, which will simplify things for you and leave you to deal only with this life, the present, which will be much easier. And the solution becomes simple, just to turn your light all the way up and enjoy the experience. Because this time it's going to bring a lot of positive, exciting things into your field and into your life quickly. Thank you for the question.
Next question. I just released a book. My story after my story after losing my young son to cancer 10 years ago. I have felt that the book is a big part of my life's purpose. Can you tell me anything more? How far will it reach? I'm hoping it will help people heal deep grief.
Your book will reach many, many people far and wide, particularly mothers. It's going to your book will eventually develop a larger following and be distributed in many countries. Translated into other languages. And it's going to help a lot of mothers. It was a very brave thing for you to do, to write that. We know that that was quite difficult, just to write the book emotionally. It's a really brave thing to make that more public. And you really were channeling your soul when you're writing that book, and that really comes across. And a message for you that's coming in is, it's okay to let go of any guilt about healing, about really healing from the experience. There's a deep-seated resistance to letting yourself feel better, better beyond a certain point, as if it's some kind of a betrayal. Your son is here and communicating to you directly that it's okay for you to feel good. You have honored him and then some with your life, with what you've done with that experience, and certainly with your book. And you're one of the unsung heroes we were talking about earlier. But you won't be unsung for long. Your book is going to create a lot of big breakthroughs in your life over time. And it's not going to be the last book that you write. So let that ice thaw. When you let that last part of ice thaw, it's not going to release grief. It's going to feel like a weight falling off, a weight that's been there so long you barely notice it. But it's become like a friend, and you won't miss that weight. Your book is a bridge into a whole new life for you. And the last thing we want to say is you have 3 new guides that have just come in, and these guides are with you for the rest of your life, and they're here to really help you through this next transition in your life. And you're in a transitional phase right now. You did not bite off more than you can chew. In fact, the next phase is going to be a lot more fun. And it's going to unfold in a way that you're very well suited for. And soon you're going to find yourself starting to laugh a lot more easily. Your 3 new guys want to do a lot of heavy lifting for you right now. A clearing out of the brush, clearing the dense thicket to reveal the intricate, beautiful gardens that were right there all the time that are now coming into bloom. And right now, your son is communicating you a lot by using the number one. So when you see the number one show up in strange places, that's a message from him. Because he's saying that you're his number one mom he's had in any of his lifetimes. Thank you for the question.
Okay, it's 8:41. Do we have time for a couple more questions? One more?
You can take one more.
Okay. So, is there something seriously wrong with me physically, particularly gallbladder or liver? Are there stones in the gallbladder or bile duct blockage in the liver?
There's nothing seriously wrong with you, but you might want to get checked out for peace of mind. Some of what you're feeling, a lot of it are phantom pains. Phantom pains that are being triggered as you navigate some new terrain in your life that's bringing up some old wounds from another lifetime where you died of being stabbed with a sword in this area of your body. It came from a lifetime where you were a Viking in a bloody battle with the English in England. You were in charge of a group of Vikings and you led them into battle. It was a lot of hand-to-hand combat. You were on the losing end, but you survived for about a week with deep internal wounds. It What has triggered all this now? As you look back on your life, you may notice a pattern that you have certain stages of life where pain in that area has started. Particularly if you're entering some phase of life where you feel like you're in for some kind of battle. As you may feel now. Perhaps you're not headed for a battle. Perhaps you don't have to fight at all. What if you're like a ship out at sea, and out in the distance, you can see a storm brewing. You can see a storm there, but you know you're not going to sail into the storm because your path doesn't call for you to go in that direction. You're simply sailing by a storm that happens to be nearby, But your trajectory, your path is taking you away from the storm. But you're close enough to see it. You're close enough to see its destruction. You can feel the environment change, much like you can feel the pressure drop if there's a storm near you outside, but not above you. If you're outside, you can feel things shift, right? Your body can feel that. And that's what you're feeling now, too. And how does that ship out at sea get moving a little faster, to go a little faster on its path to moving past that storm? It puts the sails all the way out. It allows itself to fully receive the wind to push it along faster and further. And that's where you are now, too. Right now, the lesson for you is to allow yourself to fully receive. Receive in all ways. Think about what receiving means for you. Receiving help, receiving direction from someone you trust. Receiving love, receiving assistance from the non-physical. Receiving the benefits of all the good decisions that you've made. And to allow those around you, someone in particular who's making some bad decisions, to go on their own path, to let that storm go in that direction and you keep on your own path. This is a time where you don't need to change course. Just keep going along on your way. Keep going on exactly the path that you're on, and allow yourself to fully receive. Let those sails all the way out and fully receive, and that will just push you along that much faster on the path that you're already on, which is the right path, while that storm brews in the distance. And that storm will grow. It'll go through its cycle of storming in an area, then the storm will pass, and there'll be some aftermath and some recovery and a lesson learned. But they're going to be fine. Sometimes people need to learn the hard way. And you're not abandoning them to allow them to learn their own lessons, because that's part of their healing. We've been working with your higher self to clear the residue of this other lifetime. And by the way, in that lifetime, your group did win the battle, but it cost you your life. Regarding the physical part of it, it might give you peace of mind to get checked out. It would also really help your body to eat oranges or drink orange juice every day for a while. Specifically oranges. Thank you for the question. We'll wrap up with a group blessing, a chakra balancing. And you'll feel kind of fresh and shiny, like you've just been to get your hair done, and to be pampered a little bit. Ya kashia kataka kashia kashia kataka kashia kataka aya kashia kataka kashia 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 aya katam kashia kashia Ai, 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 ao, ao. Ai, ai, ao, ao, ai, ao. Ai, 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 ai. Ai, 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 ai. Oh, ah, ah, We thank you. We love you very much. And with that, we are complete.